thank you all for that. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Eileen, our new president. Can they hear her? Also, thank you.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's-
I can ask.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eileen Henke, president of SEPTA this year. I have been involved with SEPTA since 2017 when we were coming into the district. I have a 5th grade boy and a 4th grade girl who is currently in the COTOC class. And I'm super excited this year for her to be in that class. I think that, we're all here for the same reason. We all are advocating for our kids, and whether it's big or small, we all have the same goal in mind. And while we're volunteers and mom, I like to think that we can help other people through our amazing website that Chrissy has put together. No children are the same, but through SEPTA and chatting and moms and talking to the district and us communicating out, I hope that we can help everybody for this school year going forward. We have a suggestion box in the back if anybody has any ideas or speakers in mind they would like to hear for this year. And I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to our president-elect.
Hi, I'm Sivan. Do I have to stand? Can you see me if I don't stand up? That's good. I'm Sivan Chapman. I have a 10th grader, 7th grader, 5th grader, and 1st grader. My 1st grader is in the Homestead self-contained class. Last year I was a director of Homestead for SEPTA. I was very, very, very fortunate to be taken in by all of my lovely SEPTA ladies who have just walked along with me through the past 5-6 years, helping me with my kids, with any questions, with everything that we have, and they're just constant resource in my life, and I bug them daily to nightly outside, a lot of nightly, but it's amazing, and it's a great community, and I really hope that our community in general sees what an incredible resource SEPTA is, and we utilize this as much as we can. Thank you.
We're just gonna go through quickly with the who's on the board and introduce the committee members. So once I get to the committee members, if you'd like to stand up, say hi. We're gonna turn the laptop so the people on Zoom can see you when you stand up. This is our executive VP, Neha Bajaj.
Hi, everyone. So I said hello. I have 2 kids in the district now. My little one just started kindergarten at Hemlock, and my older one is in 5th grade in the COTOC over at Stratford. And I've been with SEPTA since the beginning, of my kids' joy, not the beginning of SEPTA.
Okay, we have Shayna Marr as our secretary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shayna. One in 5th grade, one in 2nd grade, and one in pre-K.
Carol Valente, who is our treasurer. She is coming late, and we'll give the treasurer's report then. We have our vice president of membership, Michelle Bellotti. She had to drive her parents. So we also have Ann Heaney as our vice president of grants and fundraising. She couldn't be here either, but she runs the grant program through the district. And as of right now, she has about 16 applications that she has gone through. And she has a committee that votes. And then the grants will be presented to the SEPTA board in the October or November meeting. And then we will be voting on the grants that were submitted for last year. This year, the grant program will open in January of 22. And just so you know, over the past couple of years, we've granted over $200,000 to the district. So it's a good program. Vice President of Communication, Chrissy Dickey.
Hi, I'm Chrissy. I've been doing this is my 8th year. And, if you don't look at our newsletter now, please start looking at our newsletter. It comes out once a month. And please visit our website. We have a ton of information on there. It's updated quite frequently. I have 2 kids in the district, one who just started in 9th grade and another one who just started at 6th grade in middle school. So thanks for coming.
And Chrissy's humble. The newsletter has
Yes.
like one word. So definitely look at the newsletter. There's tons of resources every month and the website. as well.
Yes, website has a ton of resources. And I know people from other districts who refer to our website as well. We have our Vice President of Litigation and Budget, Erin DeBreach.
Hi, I'm Erin. I have 3 children in the district, a 5th grader, a 4th grader, and a 2-year-old. So,
If you have any questions, just let her know.
yeah, budget time, it'll be when budget time comes, we start in January and February to attend the board of ed meetings, start asking questions and other legislation ideas. We're reaching out to our local elected officials, any ideas, anything you want to see, get more traction, please reach out to me.
And for our building directors, we have Jen Stratton at Hemlock.
Hi, I'm Jen Stratton. I have 2 children in the district. One is in 2nd grade over at Stewart and one is in kindergarten at home.
Thank you. And for Homestead, we have Jackie Hook, who could not attend, and Marilyn, who is on Zoom.
She just wait.
Yeah. Amy O'Leary.
I have 2 children. One is at Stewart and first.
Stewart is Lori Katinas. She's a doctor who works the overnight shift, so hopefully she's sleeping right now. But she has twins in 5th grade, and she has been our SEPTA rep student for over 2 years now. And she's awesome. Stratford is Martha Yassa.
Yeah, so I have director of Stratford. I have 1 kid currently in the district, 5th grader at Stratford. And I have a son that just graduated in June and is now attending college with special ed services.
Middle school, Karen Butt.
Hi, I'm Karen Beck. I have 3 boys and 7th grade. I'm also the middle school curriculum rep for SEPTA, so if anyone has any issues with middle school, just reach out to me.
And high school, we have Megan Sutcliffe and Joanna Crowley.
Hi, I'm Megan Sutcliffe. I have 2 children in the district. I have a senior at high school, and Jack is a freshman at the high school in the new 12-1-2 class. And our first meeting with the high school is October 20th. So if anybody wants to reach out to me about any questions you'd like me to ask to administration over there, please feel free.
We have 2, now we're going to go through the curriculum reps. We have 2 at the primaries, Maria and Elizabeth Senden. They're on Zoom.
Maria's actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said Zoom.
I was up thinking that.
Because I have Z written down, I'm trying to organize.
Hi, guys. Purple.
Stratford, we have Shannon Mayer.
Hi
Wait.
again.
We might have to update that, right?
What's that?
We may have to update that. Okay. Stuart Cassidy Hayes.
Hi guys, happy, nice to meet everybody. I have 2 boys, one in 5th and one in 2nd at Stewart, and a full smile at their last. Just a quick plug for all you fellow class parents as well. When you go to back to school night, the PTA membership is really at the forefront. They talk about that. It's really important that we talk about SEPTA. A lot of people don't understand that SEPTA does both general and special ed stuff. They have amazing programs for all students. So please encourage that for your classes. If the class moms aren't aware, just do a quick plug. And just let them know that it's so important to join SEPTA as well.
Middle school, Karen again, she had mentioned. High school, Frances Mingu, she's on Zoom.
Yes, hi, everyone. I'm the high school curriculum representative for SEPTA. I have 2 boys, one in 7th grade at the middle school and a 10th grader at the Garden City High School. And this is my 2nd year at the high school level as a curriculum rep. So if you ever have any questions, concerns, or you hear about them from neighbors or friends, please reach out to me and we can, help you guide you through the whole process.
And this was the site-based representatives. Site-based will be back this year. It was not last year due to the pandemic. So we have an open position for the primaries, if you know of anybody. Stewart, we have Maureen Lagarde, who was unable to attend today. She's been active with SEPTA for a long time. She has a 4th grade daughter, and she's been active since kindergarten. Stratford, Neha Bajaj. Middle school, Chrissy Dickey. And then the high school, Danielle Sapp. Okay. All right. Thank you all for attending. So due to some unexpected circumstances, we had PPS here to present on the program, amazing program changes and new hires. So there's a big conflict. We tried to get Zoom, but there's a conflict. So we're going to have Neha, Chrissy, and Savan divide up and communicate what we do know as of now, and hopefully follow up with some webinars on Northwell Health through PPS. So
We do have Dr. Sinha today.
Oh,
so maybe
yes.
you can kick us off and talk about some of that.
But the microphone?
Yeah, and I have Dana here too, because we're going to talk about the grants and.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'll just say it.
Do you mind? Sorry, I'm gonna
Do you
make
want
you
the
go
microphone?
stand there so they can see you better clearly from the Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah.
They can see. I think they can see you. We're okay. As long as we can hear you.
okay. We'll talk about this. All right.
Don't.
Hi, everyone. So first of all, thank you. This is such a great turnout, and what a great place to have a meeting like this and be in person.
And it's very close to.
I know, and I actually enjoyed walking over. We enjoyed walking over because it's nice. Actually, it was nice to get out. So, there's lots of wonderful things happening in our district, and I'm going to focus really on special education. Before I even start, I just want to thank you because, the parent partnership is so, so critical for us, especially during challenging times as a school community. How do we come together to really serve all of our children? And even though there's some things that we're seeing right now that are challenging, but our goal is to keep our schools open, make sure our kids are in school, and we are doing things in our schools where there's more of our parents coming into our schools, things of that nature that we keep trying to do more and more of. And let's hope we get back to the normal, of having our kids back in and in the way we want it and the way our parents would like that. So that's a work in progress. But again, our goal is to make sure our kids are safe, they're healthy, and we're partners. We're partners in our students' education. I love seeing your kids. I've been out and about in our buildings. Absolutely love seeing the students. And I have to tell you, at the high school, our middle school kids have gone up to the high school. I was in the lunchroom earlier this week, and it was fantastic. They actually come up, they'll say, "Hi, Dr. Sinha." And, and they'll actually, some kids will say what they need, which is, I love it. I love it. I mean, I had a student come and say, I have to talk to you about something personal, told me about a situation that wanted that to be taken care of. Ms. Sutcliffe, your son, I get a fist pump every time I see him, whether it's in the hallway or it's in the lunchroom, any place. So I absolutely love that. And our kids are happy in school. They are truly, truly happy. So a couple of things for this year. And, a little bit of challenge with special ed is, remember, you have 2 new administrators with Janine Velez and Desiree. They both started at the same time, and a difficult time to start because last year, it was a challenging time for anybody, and to really partner, build relationships. Those are, that's a work in progress because now we're back in, so there's more of that happening, which is great. So I'll start off with the primary. At the primary level, and this ties to the grant that we received federal grants for, we are really focusing on, what is it that we can do early on? So focus on the primary and early elementary years for students, so we give them the support that they need. So for our K-1 buildings, we have a speech and language pathologist this year. They're pushing into the classrooms for all kids. but with a certain focus on language development, which we believe is important. And we also have occupational therapists who's pushing into all of those K-1 classrooms, again, focused on specific skills, fine motor and sensory types of activities with them. So which we're hoping to continue, not just this year, but even into next year and the year after, because the grant we received, the federal grant, there's part of our local money we're using, but also our federal grant. We also hired at the elementary buildings a social worker. So now we have a social worker in both the elementary schools, which I think is very much needed, because if we're saying we value mental health, we want to make sure that we have the supports for our children in those buildings. We also took one of our special ed teacher, who's really a phenomenal teacher, Ms. Gonzalez, and now she is working in the capacity of helping other teachers in the other buildings. So we're building that capacity internally. There is a heavy duty focus on behaviors in our schools to build internal capacity. We were using a lot of outside consultants. So we hired an additional psychologist this year to work with our students. And he has such extensive training. We're fortunate to have him. And he's housed at Homestead. We have our special ed programs there, and then also at the high school, he's doing some work. And he's been a great addition and really helping us build capacity, with our folks. Northwell is another great partnership we have. I actually visited the site. It's in First Avenue in Mineola. It doesn't feel like a hospital setting. So if our children are in distress, we want our parents to access that service. So we actually, even Janine and I met with, believe it or not, even our police department, because there's been more calls during the pandemic. The parents need assistance with their child, and children that are in that, preteen years. So we gave them this information to give to parents, that if there's a child in distress and we don't know, here's another resource, because, and there are our school residents. What's good about that is that there's more of a wraparound support for children, as opposed to, trying to figure it out or trying to call someone. We have, there's clinicians there, a psychiatrist is there, and it's for us to work together on behalf of that child. Oftentimes when there's an issue, it's like, let's fix the child, but there's not much done with the environment, the school and home environment. And that's a focus for us. So I think we're hoping that service will be used within the school and outside of the school for our parents. Hopefully we don't have to use it, let's put it that way. But if we do, there's supports. What else do I have? We have a strategic plan for special education. We're following that. That's going to be followed, that strategic plan. And there were different components of it. It was updated last year, and that's the guide that we'll be using that to guide our work. Special education is the part of that. So is our E&L. So it's for all students. So that work is happening for us as well. What else, Dana? Anything that you have?
So other than that, on the, for the grants themselves, this was the ARPA money. So that was about $672,000 that we could spend over the 3 years. And like Dr. Sinha had said, the summer program was part of that. So that was a very big push. The before and after supports, and for special education, and then instructional technology, we will be adding some devices as needed, and some of that can come out of this money. As far as the CURSA money, which there was 2 different grants available, and we did apply for both. The second one was just under $300,000, and we are working on an ELA coach for the middle school. If you want to expand on that.
Yes.
And the staff developer, the
Yes.
instructional technology staff.
Those are 2 really good points. At the middle school, we've done a lot of work in the area of reading in our K-5 buildings. We expanded it last year to 6th grade, but within just a team. This year, we have an ELA specialist at the middle school who's going to be working with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers. And there's a reason for that. Because we have really strengthened, I believe, in our K-5 programs as these kids are going up. They're used to a certain way of being taught. We want that to be moving up into our middle school. So our ELA specialists will help us with that. This year, we also, if you remember 2 years ago, our ELA coordinator, 612 coordinator, retired. We didn't fill that position last year. We filled it this year with a director of literacy K-12. So all of our coordinators are now K-12, and special ed is part of it. Like, so as we're articulating our curriculum, well, what does that mean? How are we differentiating that for all of our learners? So that's a part of our work. They started that work over the summer, but that'll continue. We also added, I don't know if in Stratford, Michael Davola, he was our technology teacher. He's amazing. He's now at the district level as our instructional technology staff developer, and we hired someone else for Stratford. So our goal is that how do you integrate technology for all kids? And it can't be you pull them out, that model doesn't work. You pull students out for those. It should be pushing in and really co-teaching with the teacher. So we're building capacity with the teacher, and and that can be utilized throughout the day. One, an area that I've asked our principals is that continue to use the Google Classroom for grades 3 through 12. And there's a reason for that, particularly as special needs students. There's a place that helps you to organize. It helps you to go back to, information that you need. You don't have to rely on, did I take notes? Did I listen to that? Because it's there for you. So that's something we'll continue to use. And Seesaw for our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. And we will be handing those devices out, but we're doing it after we do some training for our students on that. So teachers are still going to continue to use leverage technology, because I think it continues to be important for us as we move forward with that.
Some of these things some of this staffing will go on into the 2nd year because we are able to allocate that through the grants. And some of the supports in the primary schools, we have a 3-year plan for. So, it was very nice that these monies were able to be allocated. A lot of times grants don't work that way. But, this is why we looked at it over a 3-year plan and transitioning some of these, getting capacity out of our teachers to be able to continue that learning with the students on our.
And we have that information on the grants. It's been on our website when we presented it in June, and we're following that plan. The other thing I would tell you is, I've started to meet with our students. Tomorrow I'm going to be meeting with our middle school students, 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade. Our kids, they tell us the most of what we need. And that we're going to continue to do. Our high school students shared with us what would help them. And we're going to follow with as much as we can. We're upfront with our kids on what, and they're actually amazing. They ask such good questions about their own, about how can their experiences in school be even better. And I'm sure I'll get the same thing with the middle school students. So one thing that I do ask is that if you think of things that you believe that we should be doing or we can do better, let us know. Because sometimes we're in that zone of what we're doing in the schools, and there's such great ideas. Just tell us, because there's never really a bad idea in that way. If it's about kids and how can we do and service our kids better. I know, Ms. Yasser, can I share? Okay, so Ian,
Whatever it is.
yeah, she knows what it is. She knows what it is. Ian, who graduated, she just spoke about, she has a son in college. Ian last year, he sent a video to me, and it really resonated with me. And I had Ian speak to our administrators at central office. I did a Zoom call with Ian, and he spoke to our administrators about what he is and he's passionate about technology. He's done a lot of stuff with technology. And really, and I've had, I think, additional conversations, Ms. Yasso and I, we've had a few additional conversations after that about where we could have probably done better for Ian. And we've talked, and, so we learned from those. So those conversations are important, and about our work with kids. And I would have never known unless Ian had sent this video, and it was about something very different, but it resonated. There was so much there that that we could be doing even better for our kids. So it's important for us to listen to our children and listen to it in a way that sometimes children say things to us without saying it, if that makes sense. And sometimes they're talking to us. It's not what they're saying, but that underneath message is so important for us to be in tune to. So we're looking, it's going to be a good year. It will be a good year this year. So I hope all your children had a great start to the school year. And your principals are committed to being open and taking care of your kids. Really, I tell you that. I'm in buildings, I see that. So there is a strong level of commitment with our principals as well. And of course, district office. We couldn't all, it's work how we do well together. So, all right, anything else? Any questions that you may have?
I think you also have the PACE person, the new SLP. She's
Oh,
she's
yes.
at Homestead, she's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, the speech and language, we already hired through the grant, the speech and language pathologist who's in for our K1 building. She is amazing. It was a strong hire, and she's already has come up with plans. Another thing I wanted to mention, and then I'll answer the question. We presented on our multi-tiered systems of supports for students, which encompasses AIS and RTI. Special ed was a big part of that. We've also come up with a plan for tiered supports for speech, OT, and PT, which I think will be really, really helpful. And again, this is all to prevent kids from, we want to catch them early and support them early on. So they're ahead. We want them to be where they ought to be. So, all right, yeah.
So in the building meetings with the students, are you including the special ed kids in each meeting? Are you meeting with them separately, or how's that work?
I think we have some special ed kids within the groups.
Okay.
I really leave it up to the buildings. And my goal is, I leave it up to the buildings to have kids, but the goal is to really listen to what they're saying. So I believe in the middle school, I think we do have kids that special needs. I just glanced at the list this morning. That's tomorrow.
But I know Jenny would, I think maybe that's what she's going to talk about on the Zoom presentations, but maybe talk about the consultants that were hired.
Yes, so part of, the consultants are there in the different areas. There's a real focus on the behavior piece and, and how do we build capacity in understanding children. Children speak through their behaviors and what are they telling us? So the consultants are there to assist us with understanding that, especially in the area of children who have significant challenges. What does that mean? And how do we understand that? Executive functioning, that is continuing. That's something that never, I think, ends, because especially in the middle school years, we're actually looking at how do we build that into the curriculum with all kids, because that's where you see the children sort of falling apart with children who have the executive functioning challenges. Embedding those study skills with them early on. And I know she has other consultants in Sutcliffe. She's better versed at the plan.
And because the two that I just mentioned here would probably maybe recognize the name because we've had them as speakers.
I think the one on executive function, she's been here before. I think it was
Yes.
last year, the year before.
We brought her in last 2 years ago as a speaker on executive functioning, and then she came back last year with Parent University and did a series as well through Parent University, and she was so well received that now she's been hired as a consultant.
Yeah.
for the
And
district.
you know, and that's good for all kids, by the way. You know, I think,
Yes.
you know, we talked about is, you know, SEPTA is for all kids, not just special needs. Your focus is that, but executive function, all parents and students could benefit from understanding that better.
And Mr. Darcy spoke about,
His autism
About
center.
like independence and sort of an aid, releasing a student from an aid and how to
yes, that's right.
approach
Yeah,
that.
because I remember listening in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
one of the,
he's been in the district in the past, with, I want to say, 2 past PPS directors. And then he has been working with Janine for a long time, and he was brought back to consult. I can tell you he's helped me a lot throughout the summer, so he's wonderful. And I think for Donna Field, Dr. Field, there's on the website, if anybody wants to see it, it's phenomenal. I actually go back and I rewatch it because it was so good. So,
yeah, Mr. Darcy, I met with him last year, early on, and he has a wealth of experience. You know, one area that we talk about this gradual release of responsibility. So oftentimes when children have, you know, that support of an aid, you know, you want that to be, there has to be real goals with that as to why, and you don't want children to become overly dependent on an aid, right? So that's something that we're working on, is that how do we promote more of that independence? Because, you know, the children are with us, and special needs child can be with us till age 21, depending on the disability and whatnot. Our goal is, and you want to be thinking as parents, what are your hopes for your kids when they are graduating? And I tell you, that's something as parents you should be thinking about. Where do I envision? You know, where do we want to be? And one area that I know Janine and I, we've talked about children, even with goals, that how are we measuring goals? How are we, and if you have 50 goals, you can't do it all. And it has to be focused and concentrated on what is going to have the greatest impact on that child for that year, right? When you have that many, it's very, very difficult to monitor and to do that. So you have to, that's an area we have to work on. I mean, that's something that she has shared with me. And me, you know, as a former PPS director, I would never have that many goals because it's not reasonable. And you have to be reasonable with parents and really letting them know, you know, we have these challenges, but let's focus on this. If we do this, then this means X, Y, and Z for your child. Very, very important. So that's another area. And just progress monitoring. How are we doing that? How are we really making sure these goals and we're targeting those goals? So I know that's an area Janine and Desiree are working on with staff. Yes.
Has the district done any more thought of hiring in-house OTs and PTs? Because right now, PTs aren't even functioning in the district because NC's fine one.
You know, that's a good question that you ask. It's hard with the OT and the PT. The challenge becomes because of the way we have 7 buildings, and to go into, you know, right now when we go through the agency, in the district, we've never hired them. They've always been through an agency. We've thought about it. We've talked about it, particularly with OT. PT, you typically don't.
Districts have actual employees that, you know, and especially with OT, as an OT, they're not necessarily always employees. Their ways to get individual OT is the same way that we discuss. Because we're having the same experience with OT every year, and usually it's just got licensed a month ago. And they're doing their best, but you never know what you're going to get, and there's no communication. So even if there's a single person to help coordinate.
That's a thought.
Yeah.
I know she's looking into capacity.
Yeah.
And see if it would make sense.
Yeah.
It has to do with where the house
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And everybody
And that's, you know, that's actually a good point you're making, even if one could coordinate that. I know Janine has brought that up to us as well with especially with occupational therapy. There's more and more need for that. That's something we'll definitely consider. I know in my previous experience that we always had OT in-house, the hardest part in our district is because we're so spread with the 7, really, and take the high school away for a moment, even our 5, between the 3 primary and the 2 elementary. Scheduling becomes a challenge, but I think I like the idea of like, who can be coordinating all of this and make it, so there's consistency. You need consistency. The OT that, and I have to actually see, I know Janine found an OT for our in-house. So K1, our goal is in the K1 classrooms, how do we build in sensory for all kids? And you can do that with sensory tables you can have in each of the classrooms. It helps kids, and particularly the fine motor. Writing is still important for kids. There's a lot of different processes kids use in the task of writing. So that's still important. And our kids don't have that fine motor control that they had years ago because of, just the writing. The way, kids are not using those muscles as they did in the past.
But also with we talk about behavior, I mean, a lot of OT sometimes turn into behavior. Other districts do have sensory rooms and things like that. So it would be nice. I mean, OT especially is needed in the grade, it would be really helpful.
Yeah. So our goal is to have that in each, because our primary buildings, the classrooms are a little bit larger, that how do you create a sensory station within each classroom? We did some of it, not last year, the year before, because we did bring somebody in. I'm a big believer. I think what OT does for children, I think it's important. So, we had begun that because one of the things that we learned from the preschool directors meeting was that there, with what they shared with us about particularly with sensory integration, that there was more need for that for us at the kindergarten, 1st grade level. So that's I like the idea of having someone coordinate all of that. That's something for us to think about and consider.
And one of our big grants through SEPTA was for the sensory paths at Stewart and
Yes.
Stafford that are in-house now through the social workers and school psychologists.
Yes. Ms. Trent?
I had 2 things. One comment just to follow on the OT is integrating that parents at home, because my older guy has real sensory related issues, and we spend so much time at home with him on sensory related work and a lot of multisensory tools for teaching and reinforcing what he's learning with the teachers at school. So I think it might be really good idea for someone to think about how to do something that can bridge what they're doing at school, parents at home, yeah, from a fire hose that the guy kindergarten was experiencing sensory things like some of the older kids who have. So teaching them those types of things, I think, would be a nice thing to do for some kids. Specifically for you, Dr. Singh, I have a question about what the district is doing with respect to, looking at providing for 2-week kids, kids who are twice exceptional, kids who have some significant disability, whether it's autism or autism, ADHD, OCD, or any of those combinations, or even physical disability, but are also, very, very bright, and they may not be getting exactly what they need if they're in the children's school, if they're in one of the more contained classes. So they're not feeding what they need intellectually to move forward, which has been causing behavioral issues because they're bored, they're waiting around too much, they're doing all these things. There's a lot of talk about twice exceptional kids, but there's also a dearth of programs either here on the London, frankly, anywhere. It deals with how you can provide for 2-week kids. So that's just a question I have for you just overall, if the district has been thinking about that, and so
We actually have been. It kind of goes back to Mrs. Yasso, because she really has met with her several times around this topic, and really because of Ian, if it's okay, mention that. And so we have been, And I know that's something that Janine and Desiree at the PPS department, we are looking at that even more carefully, because it's twofold. One is you see them behaviorally, or the other is they withdraw, right? They're both, there's two different, they're two very different things, what you see with kids, and oftentimes they can't even express it, right? Because they don't, a child with, who has autism, there may be something else going on. They're just not able to express it because they also have language challenges. And like I said before, I think our children, they speak so much through their behaviors. And how is it as adults, we know what they're telling us, right? Through their behaviors, extremely. And that's with all kids, by the way, not just special needs, it's with all kids. I mean, my kids, when they were little, I knew what they were telling me when they came home. And if, particularly my daughter, who would start, like she enjoyed doing puzzles. She would do these 1,000-piece puzzles in a couple of days. And that was her way of sort of, whatever was going on that helped her. It was either the puzzle, a long shower, and she was a voracious reader, reading, she still is. But she learned those strategies, but I knew when there was something else going on, because she was telling me that without her telling me. And it is, when do you talk to them, when you don't, especially as they get older, it becomes more challenging. So we have to be in tune to their behaviors, all of us around that child, educators, parents, and we have to be communicating. And sometimes you guys have better ideas that you come up with. Like I'm leaving today with a couple of ideas. I know Deanna's taken notes, and I said, this is a good idea that we can go back to, right? So,
You guys actually, to speak a little bit, I mean, now you know more than anybody, but Jen, there actually I don't know if you're aware of the nest model, yeah.
Yes.
So the city has like a nest model where they kind of do a much smaller class, and they bring a big percentage of the children have high functioning autism, and they kind of help each other. It's a co-talk class, and then the children do help each other. One helps behaviorally, the other one helps more with.
There is also mainstream kids in there, but it's the same ICT model where it's a general ed, special ed teacher.
Yeah.
There is an aide in there who is a teacher certified.
So the NEST program, it comes from the city. It's a wonderful program, by the way. And what they do is they have a group of children that are, again, special needs, and they are in a regular classroom. And they have that level of support within that. It does wonders. And if I could say, like, what would be a great thing for SEPTA to do is, we are an inclusive school, but we have to work at continuing to be even more inclusive. And what does that mean for us? Like, I'll give you, and so that I'll go back to the NEST program, and then I want to talk about inclusivity for a moment. So the NEST program, with the right supports, the children learn, the special needs students and our regular ed students, they learn so much together, and they learn about acceptance. They learn about those skills that are not sometimes explicitly taught to the kids. It's wonderful. And so you have to have the right combination of teachers working, because remember, you're sharing a space now with other educators. So that those partnerships are important, and that we're not, and we are working towards kids, helping other kids in a different way. Peer-to-peer, kids love that. Kids love learning from each other. So that NEST program is this year is our first program, and we did work around that with our parents as well. So far we've had a good start to that program. So that's really important. Inclusivity, we are, when we look at, we have so many of our children that are in other public schools, not a BOCES, but other public schools. They belong here. We should have our children here. They belong to be educated in their community with their peers, with, that they play with, right? It's extremely important. That's another area that, we are looking at, is that how do we create more programs within our schools? Because I think our kids should be educated within this environment in our schools. Why another public education? I understand specialized program, but I know we're looking at that, and I think it's healthier for kids. I think it's healthier for kids to be in their own community, being educated. And we do have quite a number of students that are in out-of-district placements. related to other public schools I'm focusing in on for a moment. So Janine is going to be meeting with our parents and really getting to know the children, because last year you couldn't go visit, but she's going to visit the programs, the kids, and really have a meeting with those parents that, you know, who are not, they belong to Garden City, but their relationship has been elsewhere. We have to have a stronger relationship with our out-of-district parents as well. That's important. They're part of our school. So that's another area we're working on.
I have to say, I commend you for that, because we've spoken to Janine very often about it. They're really looking, they're speaking to the parents and the students, but they're speaking to us. They're, you know, they're trying to get everybody integrated as much as possible. And the more students we can have back in our district, the better just our special education will be. The bigger our classrooms, the more opportunities we all have. And it's important. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And we're
Nice to
always
see
open.
everybody.
If there's any questions or anything, let us know. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our treasurer, Carol Valente, is here. Stand up quickly, introduce yourself, and give your treasurer.
I'm Carol Valente, I'm the treasurer. Just give me 1 second, I'm sorry. I believe we're at $38,771.32. So we encourage people, friends to join SEPTA. Lots of money that we get in from, you know, being members, those are a lot of great things that we do throughout the year. So please spread the word. Thank you.
Just quickly, a couple of points with the Northwell program that we learned, the questions that people have. If you have interest, the school psychologists have forms, so reach out to your school psychologist, and it is also anonymous. You can walk in with your child and just prove that you're in the district, and they will help you that day. You don't have to call, make an appointment, and wait 6 months to get in the door. Yes.
Can you expand more on what that is? Perhaps, or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And we're
I
trying
have-
not to keep you much longer.
I have just the details we've gotten from PPS, but I know that they really do want to make sure that everybody understands the program. So they are planning to do a separate Zoom to talk more about that. But just generally, so this year, as Dr. Sinha said, we have partnered with Northwell, the Northwell School, and it's called the Northwell School Mental Health Partnership. And basically it's to support our school to meet the mental health needs of our students. So the team works closely with our school counselors, psychologists, social workers to determine what needs students might have. We also have what Eileen was talking about. We have access to their dedicated behavioral health center for students in crisis, in need of an evaluation, if you need immediate treatment or just kind of an ongoing relationship. It really is a great resource for mental health for our children. So you can utilize, if you feel like you have a need or you want to talk to someone about your child, you can either go through your school psychologist and they'll refer you, or you can go directly to the office itself, which is in Mineola, so not too far away, without the school being involved. So it is, you know, there's information, I believe.
In the packets.
Oh, there's information in the back in the handout.
And they're also meeting, going in and meeting with the clinic on Friday, and will be reporting back to us on any additional information. If you have a school, if you have a psychiatrist or psychologist that you are seeing, they did mention that you can go in, meet with somebody else, and actually have your files transferred. That was another thing that they had mentioned. So, yeah. Can you just give a little bit on the peer-to-peer and then we'll
Yeah,
close out
sure.
the meeting?
Okay, new this year, we're piloting a program called peer-to-peer. And similar to the benefits that Dr. Sinha mentioned with the NEST program, the peer-to-peer is an evidence-based practice with benefits for both special education students as well as their mainstream peers. The program will help increase integration opportunities for our special education students. The peer model students will provide support and promote independence throughout the day. Maybe one class as sort of a reversed kind of integration with a special ed class. Right now, it's only in a pilot program. They're just starting small. It's going to be the 6th and 9th grade students that have been targeted. And it's got a tremendous amount of benefits for special education students. Obviously, they'll be more comfortable in social situations. They'll understand more unwritten social cues and appropriate social behavior. It's I think for the mainstream students, they're going to develop an increased understanding in differences. And from their evidence that they've seen, the kids develop an increased understanding of differences, organization skills, responsibility, problem solving, decision making, and accountability. They've also seen remarkable improvements in academic competence for both the special education students as well as the mainstream peers that model the behavior in the classroom. So there's a lot of training that goes on with it. So it's a slow rollout, and they're just targeting some students right now to see how this works and how it will fit into our program. It's also piggybacking on our existing buddy program. So a lot of the kids that have signed up for Best Buddies will be targeted for this program. So we're looking forward to hearing some more about it as the year progresses, and we have high hopes. We hope that it works out.
Thank you so much. And just to, I guess, close out, we have our PTA president-elect in the back. Thank you for coming. Oh, fabulous. Hello. So SEPTA and PTA, we've been working closely since beginning over the summer. And one of the big pushes this year is we're pushing for inclusion, or our theme is inclusion and empathy. So we have a lot of ideas that we are floating around. If anybody has any suggestions, again, we have our suggestion box. We would love to hear about any future speakers, any topics that you guys may have, because again, we're here to help. And I guess with that, thank you all for coming. There's coffee, bagels, water, a lot of bagels, so take them home. And thank you.